Tim?
This might sound a little silly since you won everything there is to win last year and 24-1 this year and MVPs and all that stuff, but this is the one that you didn't get. How nice would it be to come back and get it this time?
Yeah, it would be phenomenal. Every game I play, we play as a team. We wake up in the morning, and before the game starts, we want to win the game. When I played basketball, novice and OBAs, and I was 9 years old, I wanted to win a championship. And whenever you get a chance to play for something and win, it's always the goal to win. It's always the same feeling. So it'd be phenomenal to win this for sure.
Chris, standing on the back left.
SJ, good to see you, bro.
Too.
I'm just curious. I know winning is most important, right? But you sitting out all these fourth quarters, and it's definitely the right move to make. But I wonder if you ever think about what you can do or what your numbers would look like if you play fourth quarters like everybody else. Like, do you ever wonder to think of the possibility?
Well, now I am because you asked the question. But genuinely, no. Like, it's such a long season, and I guess you can say, like, steal those minutes and get that rest. I think that wear and tear on my body and that time will add up and be beneficial in the end. Especially going through the run that we did last year, and then physically knowing now how tiring that is. I think every minute that I can steal out there and save my body for the bigger and the best moments, that's all I really think about for sure.
On your right, over here, Joe.
Hey, Shai. Now that this is your second cup, you know that part of the discussion is the prize money. Mm-hmm. And having been through this before, you got some prize money last year, so I'm curious what you did with it. And then I'm curious about the discussion with the younger teammates that aren't on the big contract yet, like how much this means to them, and then if you have any plans yet for the prize money this year.
My wife donated the money last year, and I have no plans this year. But I'll figure it out. I'll do something in the holiday spirit with it, though, for sure.
Do you know what the donation was?
I'd have to ask her. No, I don't want to lie.
Next question, second row.
Hi, Shai. You guys are chasing history with the winning streak and the record and all of that, but the other teams obviously want to stop that. How do you feel being the haunted team?
I don't really know. It doesn't feel a certain way. We go out there with, I think, a hunter's mentality ourselves, and honestly, like, we go out there to just like better ourselves. We don't go out there. I'm sure you guys have heard the stories about some of my teammates competing against each other during the games to get steals and things like that. Like, that's where our mind is. We're trying to be like a better version of ourselves every night we go out there, and we like to hunt in that form. Like, if we didn't get better tonight, then we wasted an opportunity, and that's kind of how we see it.
Thank you.
Along with that, does the regular season record, mean something to you guys? Is that something that you guys want to check off, and would that be notable to achieve that?
Absolutely. Winning matters, and no matter what form it looks like to me. So absolutely.
On the left side, front.
Hi, Shai. This is Simone from AA Sports Connect Hong Kong. So Toronto Temple season ticket just sold out. I just want to know how important it is for the development of Toronto basketball, and would you be going to one of those Toronto Temple games?
Yeah, it's very important. I think the culture back home has grown tremendously, and that trickles down from the talent before us, the coaches that have showed us how to play, and the kids to keep dreaming and believing in themselves. And yeah, I will definitely try to go catch one of those games. Excited for that, grand opening.
Up front, Tim.
You guys are almost halfway to the NBA record for a winning streak. Do you allow your mind to wander at all into the possibilities of making history with a streak like that?
We're halfway. So a team won like 30 in a row?
So you don't even know the winning streak record?
Nah.
71-72 Lakers won 33 straight.
Wow. That's a lot more games to win. Yeah, we're so far from that like you said, I didn't even know. So that hasn't even come close to creeping in my mind. But hopefully we get there. That's the goal.
Matt, back left.
Shai, you don't know at this moment whether or not Wemby is in for sure tomorrow. Looks like he might be.
Yeah.
You do know they've got a stable of really quick athletic guards. How do they challenge your defense as you project into the matchup tomorrow night?
Yeah, they're, like you said, a really good team, whether he's playing or not. And I think their record is better with him out. So, like, regardless, they're a really good basketball team. Young, athletic, play the right way, talented. And, yeah, it's going to come down to the things it usually does when you play really good teams. The X's and O's, the attention to detail, the 50-50 balls, being physical, being smart out there. It should be a good matchup for us, good test.
Next question over here on the right side.
Hi, Shai. There's always a conversation about, the young generations taking over the league. And then now with those 4 teams, they are very, very young age. And I think the average is like a 27 something. As the face of the young generation, do you feel like you already have that responsibility to put a statement showing that the young generation is already taken over the league?
I don't know. I've never thought about it in that way. Like I picked up a basketball, I go out there, I try to be the best version of Shai every night, every chance I get, and hopefully that inspires the next generation to be better themselves, be better on and off the court, and that's really the only way I see it. The guys in the generation before me have done that, and the game has grown, and I'm this player today because they've done that. So for me, it's just to pass that along and continue, I guess, take the torch.
Thank you, Shai.
Hi. I don't know if you are superstitious or not, but I want to tell you that you are using the same locker room that was used by the Bucks the last year and the Lakers 2 years ago. That means something for you, or is just one more thing?
Nah. Unfortunately, no. I don't have a fun answer. No. I want to give you a cool answer. No, I'm not really superstitious in regards to that. I'm more like superstitious when it comes to like my routine and like being prepared to play a game. So not really. Doesn't really mean anything to me.
Joe, over here on the right.
Hey, Jalen. You guys got to the Cup Finals last year. I'm wondering what you did with your prize money.
My financial team is going to watch this, so I see. I invested it. I saved it.
Is there a discussion, because now obviously you're not lacking with the contract from over the summer, and several of your teammates are the same, but every team has younger guys where $500,000 could mean a lot. Do you have that discussion in this locker room, and is there any kind of joking about, hey, like the starters, better show up so we can get paid?
Jay Will reminds us the exact dollar amount every single day of what it would be to win. So hopefully that answers your question enough. Also, $500,000 is a lot of money, regardless of if you make what I make or whatever case may be. It's, what I mean? That's enough money to like get you going and play hard. So if we're gonna be in the cup too, like a lot of it for us is like if we're gonna apply ourselves in anything, let's do it to the best of our ability and try and win. And that's just our nature. That's just how we play basketball.
On your left, Nick.
Dub, what do you feel like you were able to take from this as such a unique experience, being here for this many days and all the things you have to go through that helped you on the run last year, and maybe how do you maybe bring that into this situation this season?
I think the biggest thing is just like this right now, like doing the media scrum, like having to stay here hours after practice. Just that kind of stuff was what happened in the finals. That's what happened during the playoffs. It gave us like a good gauge of what to expect, how to like. I think for me the biggest thing was like how to like use my time wisely, like to know like when to get treatment and still like stay in a routine. So yeah, we get to practice it, we get to utilize this, and I think that was the coolest part of it. I think I did the finals correspondence thing like 3 years ago now, being able to see that, then do the cup, and then obviously go to the finals and win was a cool like kind of pathway for it. Just because like I know what to expect, I know what goes on during this kind of stuff, and from there we just got practice. Obviously these games hold a little higher of like intensity too, so we were able to kind of like practice some of that stuff too.
Anyone else? Next question on the front.
You guys obviously have so many great individual defenders, but especially in a matchup where you might be facing someone like Victor Wembanyama, just how important is it to have that connected defense with rotations, the help defense, that sort of stuff?
Yeah, he I don't know if he's playing or not yet. I don't know if it's like been announced. I haven't. You say he is? Yeah. Yeah. So he's one of those. He's kind of like in like a class of his own. So a lot of like the little fundamental stuff and being in the right spots are heightened when you play a player like that. Another example would probably be like Giannis or like some of those guys that like physically are just like bigger. You have to be really on your principles, otherwise they'll have big nights. And he's one of those players where you got to like kind of bring in, understand our rotations, understand what we're trying to get done defensively.
Tim in the front.
After last game, Mark mentioned like the room to improve for this team, which sounds crazy with the record and all the numbers. And I asked like, where does the improvement come from? And he said individual improvement is one big emphasis, especially the age of guys. You're early in your career, a lot of guys in this roster. Yeah. How do you balance kind of the emphasis and the focus on individual improvement versus competing at the highest level for a team that has a chance to do some historical things?
Yeah, I think I'll start speaking by myself. I always try and like have my individual improvement to something that I see that the team needs every year. I think this year is a little different just because obviously I didn't really get to have the summer I wanted to, but I always try and like take something that I didn't do well last year and see how that fits the mold of what our team needs. I know Shai's been quoted saying he kind of does stuff like that, and Shai's a little different because we go how he goes. But I think that's what everybody does. Like everybody tries to figure out, well, what's my role, and then like how can I individually improve that? Which overall, for the greater success of the team, when you do that through 15 guys, makes us better. And I think that's what makes our program really special. Like you get to see guys like Oos who get more and more comfortable just each year that comes on, and just everybody like gets to be a star in their own role. Like you see Hart gets here and like he gets to do more with his production, and that's kind of just like a testament to everybody like figuring out what part of their game they need to add in order to make our team successful, and not so much them individually.
On your right in the front.
2 years ago, this is not related to tomorrow's game, but 2 years ago I saw you gelling with Nikola Topic right away on the draft night, taking pictures. And,
was that 2 years ago? Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Could you just talk about your, shock with first his ACL and then, the latest health scare, and how you went through that and how he's reacting to all of that?
Yeah, I got a lot of respect for Tope. Really good dude. And he's young, which is, I've actually gotten out of the point, and he's been the reason why where I'm like, that sucks, because he doesn't come in like, it sucks. Like he's still up. He's going in and working out and shooting and like trying to get better, which is insane to me. To be that young, have that level of maturity and confidence, the least we can do as a team is to give him, somewhere that's really comfortable when he comes in and comes in to work out. So he's been really, really strong about the situation. He doesn't feel sorry for himself. I mean, it's still crazy. I think everybody knows, like, for him to be going in there working out and still going through his treatment and having tore his ACL the year before, not even get to reap the benefits yet of being able to play in an NBA game, just speaks to his character and how much he's willing to, like, push through adversity. So real proud for him, man. Hope to get him back real soon. But, yeah, he's a dog for sure. A lot of respect for Tope.
Thank you, Jalen.
Mark, you've referenced recently that being in this environment last year you felt like was extremely beneficial to the team, moving forward through that season. kind of in the spirit of what you've talked about in terms of, rebuilding the habits from the ground up, do you feel like once again some of the things that you're experiencing here can pay dividends as the season goes along?
Yeah, we're a little more familiar, obviously, this time around. It was new to us last year. But I do think it helped us as we went through the playoffs, especially as we got to the conference finals and finals because of the schedule and the media attention and stuff like that. So this time around, yeah, I mean, they feel like elevated regular season games. You have a handful of those every year, probably 10 to 15 of them that just feel a little bit higher in terms of the atmosphere around the game. And I think those are helpful as check-ins, and this setting certainly provides that.
And just wanted to ask you about the matchup tomorrow, sounding like Victor Wembanyama might play, and just wonder kind of your assessment of the Spurs to this point with and without him.
Yeah, they've had a great start, and we haven't seen them yet, so it's a first pass at them, and we'll see where we're at against them. We're not going to over-prepare or overdo anything. It's the first time we've seen him, and we'll go out there and play and see where that leaves us. We see him a few times here in the next couple of weeks. So,
on your right, Tim?
It wasn't what I was going to ask, but since you said it, I want to ask about it. You said there's 10 or 15 elevated regular season games a year. It feels like you've played 25. I mean, you're getting a level of effort from every opponent that is worthy of when the champions come to town. Have you noticed that it does it seem different this year when you go into an arena as the defending champ?
More the same than different. It certainly seems different than it did 5 years ago. That's for sure. Just with the way that our teams progress. But we've been, it's been this. We're in like our third year of being a pretty good team. And it's grown over time. But those are good experience. Like I said, they prepare you as if you earn a playoff spot, they prepare you for those types of games, and your team gets more and more used to them. Even just watching us move in this environment year over year, just a lot of growth in that period of time. So those games help you. These types of situations help you. We try to make the most of them if we can.
And the question I did want to ask was, I know you guys don't skip steps and you pride yourselves on all of that, but a team that comes off the run like you had last year, and then a bunch of guys get contracts and it's all wonderful, they're playing harder, it looks like, this year, and that doesn't always happen. What is it about this group that is willing to focus on today and not what you've already done?
Yeah, they're pretty internally motivated as professionals and as competitors. I think that's got a lot to do with it. They don't require the external motivations. They just want to compete, and they enjoy competing together. And I think that matters, especially in a long season. They love being together. They seem to have more energy when they're around each other, whether it's game or practice, and that brings energy to a season that can be mundane otherwise. And so I think that's a huge thing. I don't think it's more complicated than that. They love competing and they love doing it together.
On your left, Tim.
Hello.
Hello.
Last year, I know you guys have been through this last year and being back here again. Next year, though, the semifinal will be, in theory, in Oklahoma City, the way the shifts to change it around. Do you like that change? Do you think it's good that if you are the number one seed like you guys are, that you get an extra home game and get to play in front of your home fans and then come here for a championship game after that?
Yeah, I think that's a good change by them. I think it's further incentive. They want these cup games to be elevated. Obviously, the cash prize does that. The difference of branding or whatever does that. They're all on TV. They're isolated to certain nights. They've done a nice job there, but I think it's further incentive to really go after those games if you can potentially get an extra home game out of it, for sure.
Tim?
How's Hartenstein doing coming off his calf? And then with him and Chet, they've still played relatively still a pretty small amount of time together. How much room to grow is there in that dynamic?
He's doing well. He's progressing, and then there's room to grow. I think the 5 is a very different position than not the 5. I'm not sure the 4 and the 3 are different positions at this point in the NBA, but the 5's different. And so Chet's entire first year was at the 5. And then adding Hart gave us opportunity to shift him to some 4. But that season was cut short, by a lot of games because of the injury. And so it has been a small sample size. And Chet's done a great job of just adapting to those changes on both ends of the floor. Changes defense too. It changes who he's guarding. The other night he starts at the 5. He's on Mark Williams. If Hart's in that game, he's guarding somebody different. So Royce O'Neal or something like that. So he's done a great job adapting to it. But he's got a lot of runway. He's still a young player and has missed some time, and so he's still getting better. But we think putting him in those different environments is a good thing for him. And to have to adapt to those things.
And then with Dub coming off the wrist surgery, what have you seen in terms of progress for him just since he's been back on the floor? And, how do you think he's handling the challenge of really having to remake his jump shot, playing in NBA games?
Yeah, I don't think he's at full capacity yet. I don't want to speak for him, but that's what my eyes are telling me. I think he's got room to go in terms of just finding his rhythm and working himself back in. However, he is at full capacity as a competitor and as a team guy. That's what's been very impressive is similar to Chet last year, he's hopping on a moving train, a team that's played very well with him out. And he's come in and been only additive to that. With the way he's competed and the way he's played inside the team, it's allowed the other guys that have played well while he was out to continue to play at a high level. Chet, AJ Mitchell come to mind. A lot of the role players come to mind. And that's a credit to him. It shows great awareness and great team orientation.
Second row on your left.
Coach, just to piggyback on the health situation, could you talk about Nikola Topic's recovery and the plan going in the future months for him?
Well, the plan right now is for him to handle his treatment and to handle where he's at, which is obviously a serious matter, but one that he's handling as well as anybody, any person, never mind a 18 or 19-year-old person can handle. He showed tremendous maturity last season. Watch him go through an ACL recovery. That's a long time. There's a lot of invisible work. There's a lot of days that are kind of in the shadows, and you learn a lot about guys when they go through that. And he showed unbelievable capacity there. And now this is obviously a more serious situation with his health, and he's only shown the same maturity. He's an incredible person. Shows unbelievable character. He's very unassuming. He doesn't want this to be about him. And he's additive when he's around the team. He's putting the work in where he can, physically, so that when he comes out of it, he's in the best possible position physically. But he's done a great job. He's right where he should be. He's doing great. And the guys have been great with him. He's been great with the guys. It's been a very humbling situation to watch because he's just handled it beautifully.
Last question, Matt, back left.
Mark, it seems like last season, with the first experience for everybody with this event in Las Vegas, maybe a sense of curiosity to get a feel for how this all was going to go down and how it was going to go day to day. Do you sense any different, business approach coming back to Vegas this time around?
Yeah, I think just more familiarity and assuredness. I don't want to say confidence, but more assuredness. Being back in the same environment year over year, like I said, you can kind of feel the amount of growth. We've had a lot of experience since then. We've had a 23-game playoff run plus the rest of the regular season last year, the start of the season this year. So, definitely feel a little bit of difference in our team, but that's been the case all year. I think when you play 23 playoff games, as young as this team was, you can't help but grow, and I think that's been evident.
Thank you, Coach.
Yep.